A very warm welcome to you all to the one-on-one set. In the studio of the MBC, we have with us a guest, an artist, Max Anish Gowriah. During this episode of One-on-One, Max will share with us tonight his passion for art. Max, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the MBC.
Thank you. Thank you to you and Krishna for having me. Very grateful.
Max, you practice different types of art for many years.
Mm.
First of all, share with us how did you develop this passion and interest in arts?
Well, it wasn't easy at first. Because when I was a child, it was a punishment for me to draw. So at school, I had issues in my first school. So I was heavily bullied. And then I remember one day I had to invent an alter ego. Because I heard if you invented alter ego, it's better to be your best self. So I invented Max, and Max is my alter ego, which I developed at 16. I changed school, and I had no friends, so I introduced myself as Max, and Max was a sort of mask where I allowed myself to be. So then with Max, I allow myself to express in many ways. Like I don't limit myself to any types of art. Max is my Max is my way of being free, whereas Anish is more defined by my parents, and Gowriah is defined by my ancestors. Max is like my baby that I put into the world to express in a way. It's like my biggest creation in a way.
So, Max, you were very young when you adopted that name at the age of 16, right?
I'm very grateful I did it then because it would be harder for me to bring an alter ego into the world if people already had a version of me in their head. So Max was like a baby that I put into the world, and I could
In a way, try to reinvent yourself, your
exactly.
identity.
I wanted to just be, because I feel like Anish was defined by his parents. So Anish had to be academic, had to be good at this, good at math, good at everything, which I was not. Me as a child, I used to be I would love to be creative, but I had to hide my creativity, and I feel like Max allowed me to express it in a way. So I'm very grateful to me in the past for inventing Max in a way, because
Yeah.
I'm getting the fruits out of it now.
And what are the different types of art that you started to practice initially?
So I started with photography after high school, because so I started with photography, and then I got into fashion design. I went to Florence, studied fashion design there, and there I wanted to be a designer. So I wanted to be like Galliano or McQueen. And then people there kept telling me, "No, you're not a designer. You're an artist," and I didn't like hearing it. So I feel like people made me an artist, and then I realized after. But I was drawing a lot. I was expressing, because living Mauritius and going to Florence, the freedom I had there was like insane. Like I was drawing, I was painting, I was taking pictures. So I feel like I really bloomed when I went to Florence in a way. The city was magic.
You've studied art at
No,
tertiary levels.
never studied art. Never studied art. I would have loved to study art in high school. I never studied art in Florence. I was in fashion design course. But yeah, if I could, I would do it now, because I feel like I didn't really have a base in art. I don't have the technique, but I try to do whatever I can with what I have. So yeah.
Okay. You've actually also collaborated with House of Digital here,
Yes,
right?
indeed. That's something I started quite recently. Animation. Never done it before. I started last year, and then just by playing and having fun, yeah, I applied and I got it, and it was a great experience. Bit stressful, but I so because I had to draw like 3,000 drawings for like a 5 minute animation. So I spent 2 months just drawing, and I had no time to make a mistake. So it was like bam, 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 and at the end, yeah, very very proud of myself for that.
So, Max, talk to us. What does art truly represent to you? How do you define art? I mean, you are a multidisciplinary artist, so what is your perspective on art?
Well, for me, it's quite a tricky question, because I feel like people have different perspectives about what art is. But if I have to quote Henri Bresson-Cartier, who's an amazing photographer, he talks about how to be an artist, it's all about sensitivity. It's not about what you do, It's how you are and how receptive you are to everything around you. So in a way, I feel like everyone is an artist in their own way. If you're doing something with your heart, then you're an artist. It doesn't have to be visual. It can be with other senses. Some people are artists with the sense of the touch, some with the sense of the ear, some with the eyes, some with the mouth. So it's all about what sense you've perfected. So I'm trying to I'm trying to perfect my eyes, but I'm also trying to perfect my touch and my hearing and my singing. I don't sing well, but I try and I sing with my heart, so that's enough. But yeah, I think many people don't realize that they are artists and they don't do it because they let the fear stop them from doing it. But it's all about letting go of the fear. I feel like the letting go of the fear is more important than just like doing something just for the sake of it. There's
That's a beautiful way
Yeah, it
to put
is.
that. So talk to us about the different exhibitions you've worked on. What are the themes or ideas you've explored in those exhibitions?
Um, well, it doesn't always start with the concept. For me, so I had a very my childhood was in solitude. I was raised and tutored by my great uncle, who was very protective, very spiritual, very strict. I used to be like I got so many like slaps. It was like very 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 hard. I feel like, to be honest, I feel like right now I'm more of a child than I was when I was a child.
Okay.
Because when I was a child, it was so academic. I used to wake up at 6, go to tuition, go to school, go back to tuition again till 7. So it was basically from 6 in the morning to 7 in the evening. It was academic.
Yeah, you
And
had a routine, disciplined life in
yes,
a way.
but I never really got the chance to be creative. It was always like hiding in like the copybooks and everything. But my great uncle was very spiritual and he always used to like study everything, all the scriptures, not only like Indian, but everything. And I think growing up with this type of like he was an old wise man, and I feel like growing up with him, he kind of grew this spiritual seed in me. And even with my work, I feel like it's constantly like trying to find myself, my authentic self. So in my work, it's always like when I work, it's like I'm praying in a way. Like I ask for questions, and then I work, and then the things I see, I get the questions throughout the process. So through the process, it's not like I think about this, then I paint this. It's more like I start with the question, then I do the painting or photography or anything, and then by the end, I expect to have a better understanding of myself. So it's basically like getting to know myself more, because I feel like that's the goal of everything, in a way.
Okay.
Authenticity.
Like you're trying to know yourself better.
Yeah, I want
It
I want
seems
to
more like
know
that
I want to know what
part for you.
triggers me. I want to know. So it's like a release of emotions. If I'm angry, I'm gonna paint anger, and by painting, for me, if I had to put it in theory, I would say if I have anger, my body's charged with anger. So either I scream or I paint, and paint is basically like tiring your body, but in a beautiful way. So when I paint, I'm tiring my body by using my energy, but it's in a beautiful way. So it's not like I'm like releasing my anger in one go. I'm releasing it slowly, and then it's going beautifully into that painting. So it's a release of energy that I do. It's like a beautiful tiredness in a way. Like I'm releasing from my body the energy, but I'm also doing it beautifully and expressing it. So it's constantly removing these emotions that are stuck in your body in a way. So I'm trying to remove. I don't want to attach myself to anger or sadness or
Channeling
guilt.
your energy through drawings, through art.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because I want to remove this energy because it's stored in your body in a way.
And it works when you.
It does work. Like for example, dancing. Like with dance, I feel like I remove shame because shame is like in your hips. So when you dance, when you move your hips, you're removing shame from your body. So I feel like my body is my instrument, and I'm trying to get a better understanding of how my instrument work to release things that I don't want in my body. I don't want shame. I don't want guilt. I don't want sadness. I don't want anger. But those are things that has to come, but it's not, your instrument is not meant to keep it. It's meant to transcend it in a way.
So, do you have any specific creative process,
To be
or what
honest,
can we see? What are your drawings mostly about?
well, that's the thing. I never. I feel like when I draw, I don't have anything in mind. I just start, and that's the trick, is to not think. You just have to start, because when you start, I feel like if you start drawing your body has a memory in itself. So when you draw, your hand will remember the. So if you draw like a line every day, in 1 month your body is gonna memorize the line and you're gonna be able to make a straight line. So it's about training the body to and training the eye especially. So what I do when I draw is like a conversation between my hand and my eye. So I draw, my eye see, and my eye is guiding my hand. So if my hand is going there, my eye is like, no, go there because then you can see this. So if I do a drawing, like a scribble, and I say man, I go towards that man. And if that man is riding a horse, I go towards that man riding a horse. And it goes, it's like the story tells
Yeah.
itself, like the story tell itself, like
Yeah.
just naturally in a way.
Okay, so talk to us about the different projects you've worked on now so far.
Well, I did my first exhibition in 2020 at Imaya, which was very grateful for that. And then I did some work with Savannah from Codan, with Chloe Mayotte from Codan also. And those are the people that really helped me show my work. Because for me, I always do it for myself. So I feel like in Mauritius, when I came back, three people I would be very grateful for is Mathieu, Pijot, Savannah, and Chloe Mayotte. They helped me a lot to get out of my cocoon. They guided me very well with such good intention. And I think it's like a conversation with myself basically that has been shared to the world in a way. But my most favorite exhibition I would say is the one I did like this series of paintings that works like a puzzle, and it was like 18 pieces of puzzle, and it was like 4 meter 50 of height and 18 meter of large. And it was this painting that I did one by one without able to see the whole thing. So when I saw the whole painting, which was massive, like beyond me, I didn't even get to see the whole thing because there was no building in Mauritius high enough for this painting. So I only got to see two parts of it. But when I saw it, I was just it felt like I was the audience as much as I was the artist. The work was beyond me. And that's one feeling I want to get in my work. I want to get this feeling where my work is beyond me. It's beyond my body in a way. That's one thing I strive for, I would say.
Wonderful, yeah. But Max, I believe that your journey hasn't been all rosy.
Oh, no, no,
The journey of an artist is not so easy.
no.
It has its parts of struggles and all.
True.
So, what challenges have you encountered in your artistic journey, and
Well,
how did you try to overcome them?
it was quite hard, very hard in the beginning because I remember I started exhibiting when I was angry. I had anger in me from family issues where I had so much anger that I needed to release, and the work I was doing was dark because I was releasing anger, and many people were like telling me like, "Oh, your work is dark, your work is dark," but this work don't define me. This work is a phase of my life that I'm trying to release. So at the beginning, it was very hard because people were defining my work as dark, but it was my release. So whatever they say, I had to release it. And I have days. Well, not not now, but I had many phases in my life where I had to survive. But I'm very grateful because I don't need much to create. If
Yeah.
I got a pen and a paper, I'm good enough. So I feel like life spoiled me, but also if in the future I have a situation where I have to survive, I feel like I'll be fine with a pen and a paper. Like those are the basic tools, and I'm good with that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very grateful, even though I've had financial struggles and emotional struggles. I feel like I've come to a point where I get to know myself more, and which is great. That's the biggest gift.
So, how do you see art in the Mauritian society today, and what impact do you believe art can have in terms of social change or challenging social
I
norms?
think it happens. I think it happens with removing this fear because I feel like there is a collective fear, but collective fear is fed by individual fear. And I feel like if individually we work, each and everyone work on uh, getting to know our fears and facing it, I think that would be the best thing to do with art. Because for me, uh, the confidence I got with using my instrument of a body is like removing the fear. Now I'm living authentically, like I speak authentically, I dance authentically. And I think authenticity is something that everyone should strive for, because you don't want to spend your life pretending to be someone else. You want to live your life with your full self, like doing what you want. And for me, it's like bottling self judgment and judgment of others. It's constantly like bottling it, because people are always gonna judge you. But if you judge yourself while people are judging you, then it's basically like a double sword
Yeah.
facing you. And that's I feel like art would help if, well, I don't know if maybe that would be for another question. But for me, I think discipline and willpower are two things that I I I think I have, and I value. Like discipline and willpower are two things that I yeah, I value.
You also practice animation.
Yes.
So how do you view the ways in which technology is influencing the future of art and the way artists express themselves?
Mm, well, technology is a tool, and I think if I feel for me, technology is like, especially now with TikTok and everything, I feel like it became an injection of information. Before we used to watch YouTube and
Yeah.
watch like a 30 minutes video, but now TikTok is becoming like an injection of information where you're getting information more quickly.
It's instant.
Yeah, which is to an extreme extent. But even myself, like for me, like I have my algorithm, so I have like information about psychology, like art tips. So I think we should learn to use the tools and not get lost in the tools. I feel like if, for example, I see kids like taking videos with a camera, where I'm like, wow, that's like very professional of them. So it's good. It's good in a way, but you don't want to. I don't think it's safe to be a prisoner of it, or almost to be like to be used. I don't know. It's like, again, it's like authenticity. You don't want to come to a point where you have to pretend to be something, and you have to protect that image. You want to be your real self, which sounds easy, but it's not easy to live a life where you can be authentically yourself, because people will always judge, in a way.
So are you able to balance tradition with innovation in your work?
Yes. I say yes, because for me, I use my childhood. I use in Hinduism mythology. I love myth. I love, like, I grew up watching Indian TV shows with gods battling each others and everything. And even with my painting, I use traditional tools, but with animation, with using technology, I got to see my drawing move. And that's one thing I'm very grateful for technology, because without technology, I mean, I can do it without technology, because there is like, I can do it on paper, one. I wish I did, but with technology, I can do bigger work in a way. So it's a good tool to use, but it's also good to, you know, uh, train your instrument.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. So Max, how do you see your evolution as an artist? And I also like to know, with which identity do you identify yourself mostly now? With Max or Anish? Or have you been able to,
Neither.
strike a balance?
Well, to be honest, I learned to observe my body. So I wouldn't say I'm neither Max, nor Anish, nor Gowriah. I feel like those three. I feel like Gowriah is limited by my ancestors.
Yeah,
Anish is limited by my
no doubt.
parents, and I feel like Max has already been defined by what people know of him right now, and I'm beyond that. I feel like everyone is meant for more. Like, I don't know. For me it's a very spiritual. It's a spiritual quest, and I feel like Max allowed me to be more than Anish ever could be. But also, like, I get triggered. I get triggered by Anish surrounding. So it really depends of my surrounding. I feel like right now I came to a point in my life where I'm careful about who is around Max, and I observe how Max is triggered by something, and then I learn to take care of Max in a way. So it's all about like being aware.
Perfect. And like you said, you've been practicing art for so many years.
Mm,
So how do you see your evolution as an artist from where you started
mm,
to now, working on so many projects? So,
if I have to share something, it's like my work and my life is like a conversation between Max in the past, Max in the present, and Max in the future. And I'm very grateful to Max in the past, because like I'm getting the fruits of his hard work. So every day of my life, I live in service to myself in a way. Like in the present, I'm in service to the to me in the future. And when me in the future come in the present, I'm grateful to the me in the past. So every day, for example, when I'm painting at night, I stop at a point where I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna be happy to paint. Because if I go to bed knowing that when I wake up I wouldn't want to continue the painting, then I'm doing a disfavor to myself. So that's what I mean. It's good to be of service to yourself by making the life of you in the future easier. Like I do the dishes in the night. So in the morning when I wake up I'm like, thank you Max for the clean house.
We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Max, what future projects are you working on, and what ways do you continue to intend explore different ideas or themes?
Well, I have a residency and an exhibition happening at Codon very soon, end of October, which I would love for you to come. And I also have two group exhibitions coming, and I also want to work on a short movie that I want to do with animation. So lots of projects coming at the same time, but I'm very, very grateful to my parents, grateful especially to my friends. I feel like I don't think my friends know how much I love them. I love them very much, and I'm very grateful for everyone around me. They're pushing me, they're seeing my best potential, making my projects even bigger and
So, how's
making
the
me dream
preparations
higher.
going for this book?
Well, it's good. Like I feel like it's happening quite naturally. Like in conversations, me and my friends make card games and we make it happen. So it's happening in a very, very fluid, natural, organic way. And yeah, it's going well. I'm learning to take more time because I feel like I'm learning to take more time, and I'm learning to not put too much pressure on myself. So I'm living discipline, but also learning how to rest.
And what advice would you like to give to emerging artists who are watching you right now?
I would say to not let the fear stop you, and to realize that if you're drawing or painting with fear, the fear will show in your work. So one advice I would give is to constantly fight that fear until one point your confidence is going to show in your work, and that confidence is what people are going to see. So you can't fool yourself. If you're drawing or expressing with fear, the fear is going to show. So you might as well work on building confidence and being authentic and being true to yourself, I guess.
That's some good words of wisdom.
Well, what can I say?
Thank you, Max. It
Thank
was a
you.
delight
Thank you.
to have you on the show, learn more about your passion for
Mm,
arts, and I'm sure our audience also will be inspired from your journey.
I hope so. Yeah.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.